Sometimes I just go down a rabbit hole. There might be some things that need to be explained. We still might not be there, but maybe we're getting closer. I don't know. We'll explore.
Alright, so none of this has been easy. I'm finally getting to a part where maybe I'm more satisfied with the sound. We'll work on video soon, but it didn't come about very easily. Yeah, at first I was using a relatively inexpensive Fifine mic, USB. Then I switched to an XLR mic. I couldn't adjust anything. There wasn't anything I could adjust, no levels or anything like that. So I thought, maybe I need to get a mixer. Got a little bit of a mixer, or a small mixer. Yeah, SC3. It's a pretty decent mixer. It's got a lot of different settings. We're not going to go like in full depth review unless you guys want me to do more of an in-depth. In that case, leave it down in the comments. But when I got that and I was using the other microphone, it was just a little budget microphone I picked up at a yard sale. But I figured the XLR would be better than USB. And I needed the mixer because I could monitor things like, I don't know, chat and all that stuff when I was streaming. Might make it easier. That if you watched a couple of my last videos, you know that microphone didn't sound so well. Actually, for a couple weeks, and I was mulling over what to try to do. Tried a couple of different settings, couldn't get it right. Finally ordered this one, AM8, Fifine AM8. Now, both of these were relatively decent price. You can get them in a bundle. These are about 40 or 50 bucks a piece. If you catch them on sale, you can get a decent sale where a package is probably about the same as both of them added together retail. I don't know why you would buy a package like that if you could just buy them separately for about the same price. But let's take you a little bit along and show you how I got to where it sounds now, which I can live with, as opposed to where I started from, which I was really irritated by. So this is one of the original microphones I started with. It was just a regular Fifine. It does okay. It's USB. A couple of problems. One is the cable in the back. This is not the original cable. Don't ask me where the original is. I don't know. It is adjustable, but if you tweak it too much one way or the other, you get some heavy distortion and you get some really weird sounds. And a big problem is because these are all separate, you know, my headphones and the mic and all that stuff are separate. If I wanted to keep everything together in one spot, it makes everything more difficult because I have to go and constantly configure things. And when Windows, inevitably, when they update things and you turn off your computer, turn it back on or do whatever, it's going to set it wherever it wants to set it. It makes it more difficult, and I'm constantly having to go back and try to set this or put this back at like 90% on the Windows and then, you know, set OBS to whatever. It's never, it's always a struggle. It's never really good. So then I thought, I'll get a mixer. But this doesn't plug into the mixer. XLR or like a regular headphone jack. Okay. So let's use the XLR mic that we've got. Great idea, right? Yeah, we're going to show why that's not such a great idea. My next attempt was a cheap XLR. Actually, I got it at a yard sale. It's a Florian. It's a BM800. That BM800 is made by a lot of companies. This one just happens to be made by a company called Florian. One of the first problems I had with it was a ground. It is a condenser, not a dynamic mic, which means it has the capability of picking up a lot of background noise. And if I don't have the setting on the back of the mixer correct, we'll demonstrate that now real quick. So this is what it sounds like without. It switched in the other position where the filter's not on. You can see there's a lot of background noise, a lot of echo, a lot of ugly. So we were able to make this a little bit better by switching it, but it was still hard to figure out where those settings were. It wasn't playing nice. We also had to have the 48 volt amplified power to this thing. And I got tired of playing with it, and it was really, really starting to get a pain in the tail, and I just wasn't happy. And so finally I bit the bullet and I switched to my third choice, the AM8 by Fifine. It's not an ad for Fifine, although I'm using the SC3 and the AM8. You can buy them as a package or separately. I think it's about the same price whether you do it one way or the other. But let's swap to the other microphone. We'll talk a little bit. And finally we get to where we are today. I'm using the AM8 Fifine microphone. There's some good things about it, and some maybe not quite so good, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Along with the SC3, where I discussed that, the mixer, it seems to work okay. I seem to have found levels that I can live with. I still am fine-tuning. It's the streams do sound a little bit better. Videos we're working on, we'll figure that out. I hope if you're watching the last stream the last video, that the second half of it sounded better than the first half. You can buy these in a package, like I mentioned. They 40 to 50 bucks, but the package comes basically the same price as them separate. And I ended up buying them separate anyway because I needed the mixer first. Thought that was the way to go. Ended up being where it's better off for me to get the microphone as well. It's a dynamic mic. It doesn't need the 48 volt phantom power, and I think it does sound quite a bit better. And it's easier to find. It's easier to find an area that sounds decent. Yeah. So that's the best way to explain it. It's not a great microphone, but for the price, it's pretty decent. And to try to learn or try to figure out how to manipulate or use an XLR mic, I'm pretty happy with it overall. We do need to do something about the video. I know that. I did increase the resolution to 1440, try to make it a little bit sharper. And for goodness sake, we're using a Logitech StreamCam. I don't know what's going on with that. But if we get that figured out, we will. And if not, then I'll end up switching cameras. I've got other cameras. Yeah, but anyway, hopefully this does sound much, much better than the previous attempts. I like it better, but now we're going to talk about a couple things that are not as great. When I bought this and when I was looking at it, descriptions talking about RGB lighting and adjusting the sound volumes. Now I can adjust the sound volume. I can do the mute and all that. There is a mute on here. There is RGB on the bottom of it. Excuse me while I expose you to another one of the issues. I'm sure you could probably hear the mic stand being hit or touched or whatever. Yeah, so this band around the bottom is supposed to be RGB lighting. There's a mute. There's some levels if you're using USB. Yeah, or if you have your headphones directly plugged into here, you can control the level on the headphones, not from the mixer, but that's okay because I can control from the mixer. If I want to mute, that's okay. I don't necessarily have to have the microphone to mute for me. Besides, I don't like tapping on the mic because then you hear incoming noises. Anyway, but barring the fact that, and I probably could use XLR and USB at the same time, kind of defeats the purpose a little bit though, right? Because I wanted the better sound from the XLR. Arguably, some people have said the USB sound is very, very close to the XLR, but I haven't tried both, and I'm not the expert. I am nowhere near the expert. That's why I usually don't do sound equipment and all that stuff in these videos. Now, if you're curious, the keyboard I'm using is a Red Dragon keyboard. I found it on sale on Amazon. It's one of those things where I don't know if it was a refurb or a return or whatever the deal was. I got it for like 24, 25 bucks. Love it. It's a full 104 key, I believe it is, 104 or 102 key, I don't remember. It's slightly smaller than your average, large layout like the old style, full keyboards, but it feels pretty good. My old mechanical keyboard, it was more clicky. This one is more solid thump, and maybe I'll do a video on that later. But that just the setup itself, getting things on my desk the way I want them, has been sort of the adventure as it is right now. The keyboard itself was quieter than the other clicky keyboard, and that's another reason why when I'm streaming, I don't need everybody hearing every single little click and distraction, but that's okay. If you did notice the Stream Deck when I panned over earlier, the Stream Deck is the XL model. I think it's 32 keys on it. I may or may not do some kind of video on that. I think I did on the original Stream Deck when I got it, and nobody watched it, so I decided not to. In any case, I've got a lot of toys on my desk that I've been playing with over the past couple weeks, the microphone being the newest for about a week and a half, and yeah, we'll just keep doing that. We'll see how this video goes. If people are interested and they want to know, then maybe I'll record something else. And if not, this will be buried underneath all the budget CPU and budget PC stuff. Yeah, that's the way it goes. So if you got anything out of the video, go ahead and throw a like on it. That's one way I'll be able to tell if I should do more videos like this. Heck, I don't know. If you're not already subscribed, please do. That would be great. I would love to be able to make money off this channel eventually. So if you guys could get me to 2,000 or 3,000, so on, that would be wonderful. Share the video if you want to as well. That's cool. Don't forget to hit me up on the other socials, including X and Discord. We've got a growing little Discord channel that we getting some activity on. It's pretty good. I do stream on that purple channel a couple times a week, and I'm getting back into that habit as well. So we'll get things figured out. Maybe a New Year's resolution. I hate New Year's resolutions. I really do. But anyway, if you don't do any of those things, you don't like, subscribe, or hit the other socials, please do me one favor. Just be kind to each other, especially this time of year, right? Doesn't cost anything to smile, wave, hold the door open, wait, just say good morning, good evening, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, whatever. As you can tell over my shoulder, I've got other stuff going on. That's an old Core 2 Duo. We're trying to put Bazite on. We've got Nabarro Linux on it right now. We're going to put Bazite, see if that runs anything. Spoiler alert, it's got a GT 1030, so it's not going to run things real well, but we'll see how it does, and we should at least be able to install it on there. But anyway, that's one of those things I got no business getting into until I find other things like that. That's all I got for now, so I'll see you later.